Well, I started sewing in a home where my mother sewed all of our clothes, and she taught me to sew, but I actually did more sewing when I went to junior high and took a home ec class and started sewing that way, and I was in 4-H and had to do projects for 4-H and the state fair, and did a lot of sewing that way. And then after I was married and had my babies, I started making quilts. And making quilts led to one thing after another, and everything that I learned, I turned around and wanted to teach. And so that helped to develop some different areas that I pursued as far as sewing and quilting and everything like that. Then my husband was an electrical engineer, and he got me interested in computers. And so I learned to do some quilting with computers and designing that way. And then that's led to a grand career of teaching quilting with the computer and then with the computerized sewing machine. So everything was very naturally in progression. I was working in a quilt store up in Woodstock, Illinois, which was my hometown, but I had gone back into the quilt store because I was interested in teaching quilting. I was doing some designing and teaching there, and they were a Bernina dealer, and showed me a lot about what the machine was like, and I got to practice on the machine. I got to teach some things about the machine, and then they said, "Would you like to buy a machine?" And that was a good idea. So they worked with me about that program, and so I bought my first Bernina machine was a 180, and it had an embroidery part, and I loved to do the embroidery and did some of my own designs, and then did some digitized designs that were commercial, and decorated everything I could with different kinds of embroidery and so forth. But I learned to do a lot of different kinds of things with the Bernina, and I found that it could do things that some of my previous machines couldn't do. So it was a nice pairing, and then I've since bought a couple more Bernina machines and advanced and upgraded so that I can do a lot of different kinds of things with the machine. I am now doing a lot of machine quilting and learning to do more freehand kinds of things. I've challenged myself to do a lot of the functions that the machine can do. I bought a machine that had more than I needed, and I figured I would grow into it. And I have done a lot of that. Coming to some classes that Bernina has offered has also given me some exposure to different kinds of things that the machine can do. Taking lessons and using some of the software and doing practical application for everything has just expanded ways that I can use the machine. And then I go back and I teach other people how to do it as well. So then that makes me learn some more, and when they ask questions, then I learn some more too. And I find that I probably approach the whole thing in a creative way, so that if you tell me that this is a way that the machine can work, I'll think, okay, if it works that way, I wonder if it'll do something else as well. And that has been a fun journey. Bernina means quality. And I have confidence in all that it has to offer. There are so many parts to the machine, that so many different feet that just about anything that you would want to do with the machine. There's either a machine, a Bernina machine to do it, or there's a part that you can add on, or you could figure out lots of different ways to work things around. I've done embroidery, I've done freehand embroidery, I've done thread painting, the free motion quilting, and with the stitch regulator, I've learned to use the stitch regulator, and I've learned to do so well without the stitch regulator. So it's a learning experience and a growing experience all the time. And with the Bernina name on it, I just know that I can turn around and talk to somebody, and I've got service people who can help me and guide me and answer my questions. we're at a retreat right now, and it is a reunion time. It's wonderful to get together with all of the people that I quilt with or I teach with. And I have met these people through national conferences and through this experience as well. And we have fun together. So the other thing about being the Bernina Ambassador is that wherever I travel, there will be people who are using the Bernina. And I can say, yes, I know the machine. I know what's going on. Here, let me show you something that I know about the machine. And we've grown together as far as that's concerned. The support that is given to me as an ambassador, I can walk into a Bernina dealer and say, hello, I'm an ambassador. Can I help you? Is there something that I can teach? Is there something that I know that I can help you out with? And I'm welcomed that way. So that's kind of nice. So that there are no strangers when you start talking about Bernina. And through the ambassador program, I've met a lot of the support people from Bernina, and they've been very helpful to me. And then I think I've turned around and offered what I could to them as well.